The F1 2022 career mode with McLaren. We're in Canada after a few shite Grand Prix weekends. Well, I say a few, it's actually been 7 because it's been 7 pointless races where our teammates been getting the odd podium and points finishes. But it's good old Canada here at the Gilles Field North circuit, and I always go well here. So we're going to dive into practice, and as you can see, when you're setting purple sectors, practice or no practice, things are looking good, but the rain quickly put an end to practice. But as you can see here, we move into qualifying, and the McLarens were looking good. I mean, it looks like we're actually in the hunt for a potential, like, I mean, I don't want to say pole, because Ferrari look definitely like the car to beat, and they definitely are the car to beat. But with rain in the air for the later stages of qualifying, I think that's only going to shaft us, because I just noticed this year, I mean, I don't have pace in much conditions, but especially in the rain, it's looking like a serious lack of it. But as you can see, we go in Q2, we're through our teammates in 11th, but we actually stick at P3 just behind both Ferraris. So yeah, I mean, if we could stick at P3 for the race, I would take it. But as we move into qualifying 3, the rain has completely emptied down here, and by the time I went out, my engineer actually said it was getting drier. Turns out it was getting wetter. Everyone else set their laps on inters, I set mine on wet. Wasn't actually that far off, but you know, we qualified 10th, so I'd say we're definitely out of position here for the Canadian Grand Prix. But it's 5 red lights, we're starting on the softs. I'm going for a 2-stop. It's aggressive, but in this game I don't like it, because when you do 50% race and everyone starts, you have a free choice of tyres, you basically just start on the medium and go straight to the hard. But I feel like when you've actually got a proper pace advantage, you've just got to go for it. So I've started on the softs, probably be pitting around lap 7, then do mediums and then softs at the end. You don't want to do 2 softs, because I feel like you need to be attacking rather than attacking at the end on the yellow stripe. But as you can see, it's a decent enough start, but you'd expect that on the soft tyre and against cars that were inferior. It's pretty mixed up grid due to the rain, but we're up to P5 and moving on to lap 2. Perez loses the back end, and we've went for the manoeuvre, and that's us up into P4. I feel like the Ferrari, Sainz is behind Perez here, but Leclerc definitely this weekend seems to be in a league of his own. We overtake Russell, but as we got to lap 5, I could quickly tell that the advantage of actually being on the soft tyre was running out. And moving on to lap 8, Russell overtakes us. Perez, though, as you see, medium tyres, got a puncture, and he's had to dive in to the pit, and due to this a safety car came out, so he's brought out his own safety car. So we've currently, the orders Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell and ourselves, but we come into the pits at the end of this first lap. But that actually helped Perez, because if he got a puncture, he can now go to the end. But for my strategy, it's not really worked. Well, I mean, it kind of has worked, but it kind of hasn't, you know, because in these mediums you're going to have to get them to about lap 25 / like 26 in order to make the soft tyre last, but only time will tell with that. But Fernando up next in P10. Russell and Perez both going to the end. Well, the other top guys haven't pitted, so, you know, does it force Russell and Perez into a 2-stop? You could argue it has, but they'll probably look to hold it out. But we overtake Alonso with Magnussen up next as we go through the quickfire chicane here just before they start the sector 2, and the pace is good, but you've got to manage it, because you can't just go all out, especially in these opening laps after the safety car, because all these guys have saved their tyres, and you know, if I absolutely kill them here, there's just not going to be much of an advantage for the next couple of laps. But considering the guys that we're overtaking here, we've got Bottas up next in the Alpha, not really racing him today. Well, because we're too good, normally because we're too shite, but we overtake our teammate for P6. Schumacher up next for 5th in the Haas. He's having a pretty good drive. As you can see, we're actually on the grass overtaking Schumacher. He made that one as tough as possible. But next up, we've got Sainz and Verstappen. But moving on, we are in P1. All those guys pit it. So we're going to go to about lap 26 and then pit for the soft tyre. 9 laps to the end and hopefully catch them all up. But Russell and Perez aren't pitting. But as you can see, we move on to lap 21 here, close to our pit stop window, but not quite. And 3 cars retire back to back. And I was thinking here, what in the name of Christ has happened? But as you can see in the replay, Kevin Magnussen spins it into the wall of champions, and this like wipes out 7 cars. As you can see, I think Magnussen out, his teammate out, there's an Alpine out, there's an Alfa Romeo out, I believe Charles Leclerc actually is well retired from this, so did Nicholas Latifi, and both AlphaTauris, I think. I mean, and both Alpines. I mean, an absolute insane pilot. I mean, it's actually rare you get this. Normally, when you get a pilot like this, where like 7 cars are out, it's something to do with it, like you, because AI just aren't really capable of it. But here, it definitely was the AI. I was racing away for the lead here, and it's fucked up the strategy because now we can't go to the end, and it didn't let me put on the mediums, which I would of course put on with 14 laps. So we've had to put on the hards, and we've come out in P4 behind Sainz, Perez and George Russell, with Verstappen and Hamilton behind us. So yes, we're on a lot fresher tyres, but we're on the same tyres. You know, I'd rather be 5 seconds down the road with 9 laps to go on fresh softs, but here we're about 2 seconds behind Russell on hards that are about 5, a bit more than 5, like about 10 laps younger. But Sainz, for example, he in fact is on hards are basically the same as us, but we go around the outside into the chicane onto the long straight, and it's at this point like the straight line speed of these cars compared to me, it's a disgrace. Like, I don't know why it's so much better, because we've even DRS ourselves, but the acceleration they're getting, again, just certain corners the AI are broke on and certain corners the player will be broke on. But we managed to overtake Sainz, who's actually dropped behind Verstappen. Moving on here, but we've got 6 laps to go. We try and hang this one around the outside like we did the Sainz. We do, and look, this is where you'll just see the exit difference. Like, look at this. Perez just gains so much fucking time. I mean, yes, he's got DRS, but with DRS, and he's pulled like what, about 4 times on us on an exit alone out of the corner. Bit insane, but we'll get 5 laps to go against 2 guys in front of us. Moving on to lap 31, just like we got Perez earlier on lap 2 of the race, we do the exact same manoeuvre. He's fighting it though a lot more this time, and now with George Russell, we get a warning there for a collision with Perez, but with George Russell up ahead, lap 32 going on to 33, we get into the DRS zone, and surely we can make this stick with a few laps to go. George Russell defends it pretty well, bit of contact, damaged the right front end plate. You'd still hope at this point, though, we've got all the pace in the world. Now we've got 2 laps to go. George Russell, we get a bit more feisty, we overtake him. We managed to keep all 4 wheels on. There's contact. We damage our front left end plate. That's now yellow/orange, and the other one's light green. Not good. Russell tries to hang it around the outside. We managed to hold on. And now we move on to the back straight here. Lap 34 of 35. We've got Perez. We've got Verstappen trying to overtake us. Russell in there as well, but we bounce over the final chicane, and both Red Bulls now lead Hamilton and Sainz. Russell, who was literally in contention for the race win, is not even in the top 5 now. Insane here. Moving on to the final straight, the final lap of Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez and Sainz. 1.6 separates the top 5. We stick to the right hand side because as long as you can just get the chicane at this point, Hamilton shouldn't be even attempting a manoeuvre on us. But as you can see, we make the final corner. We make it that tight though. He gets a good exit. Hamilton, we're going to do a button to him on 2011. We do it. We actually lose the back end across the line, but we get our first win. And it's our first points, not only our first win. First points, first podium, first win, all in one. And it was deserved. You know, like, we should have won it anyway with the 2-stop. We won it anyway with a 2-stop, not a 2-stop that we wanted. And we get on the podium, we get the win. And that just fires us straight up the driver's standings. From 0 points, only driver with no points, to a win. And it was deserved, it wasn't luck. You know, would have won it anyway. Verstappen needed to win considering Leclerc retired and he had a pretty sizable gap in the championship, but it's fired us up. We win here in Canada. That'll do it for this part of the career mode. Until next time, I believe we are in Silverstone. Or is it Austria? I can't remember. It's one of the two, but will it be as good as the result? Probably not. But till then, peace.